So whenever you give alms, do not sound a trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be praised by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you give alms, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your alms may be done in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, so that they may be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But whenever you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And whenever you fast, do not look dismal like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces so as to show others that they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that your fasting may be seen not by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Christ.
Gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, Christ.
Grace to you and peace from God the Father, from Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. You can be seated. Bring it on. There was once a really well-meaning young man who had a great heart for the environment, and he was really concerned about the oceans, the plastic that was going into the oceans, and it's really bothered him, all the sea creatures that were just being destroyed. And so he thought, I can worry about this, or I can do something about it. So he decided to be proactive, and he went and got 25 goldfish, and put them in the bags where they blow up and put the air in them, and he put a little label on them for everyone to please use this as a reminder of our sea creatures and our oceans, and to be kind to them, and not to use as little plastic as possible. And so he handed out his 25 goldfish in their plastic bags. I hope you see the irony in that, because there's just a little bit. And I know it's evening, and I'm not sure what's wrong with you yet, but we're going to figure that out. It seems to me that that's exactly where God meets us in our gospel this evening. It seems to me that part of what this whole Lenten adventure is about is we speak a lot about prayers, fasting, and almsgiving, and those are all important disciplines of Lent. But it seems to me that this is partly of how that works out. And part of that is that when we do pray, that's the opportunity for us to have our time with God, where God can point out those things that sometimes we're not always aware of in our own character or in our own actions. Sometimes, in other words, there's contradictions, and well-meaningness, I think. Sometimes, we mean well, just like the young man with the goldfish. His heart was in the right place and he meant well, but there's this huge contradiction with how it was being lived out with all the plastic bags. And so it seems to me that just as surely as that's lived out, and I know that all of you have had this experience, that when you're praying, you're either praying for someone, about an issue, about something, maybe the weather, whatever it is, you're praying, and something flashes across your screen, your mind's eye, and maybe you see something completely different, either about the situation, or maybe about yourself. Maybe God points out or highlights something, and it's not in a way to berate us in any sort of way, but in a way to bring us even more grace. For example, with the young man and his goldfish, it could have been that while he was praying and thank you, Lord, for the idea of the goldfish, that maybe God has said, it would have been even better had you used glass jars. That way people could see an example of how to replace plastic with another, recyclable type of item. And then that would have given this young man, whether it be you, me, or whoever it is, an opportunity in that quiet, silent, secret place that is just between us and God, for this young man to have had his own aha moment, if you will. Those are the kinds of rewards our gospel is talking about, it seems to me. It says, your Father will reward you in secret. And sometimes I think we make a way bigger deal. And it is a big deal when God, I think, reveals something to us. But sometimes it's intended as a moment of aha. I see the contradiction now. I see what I didn't see before. God is really good at opening that veil, sometimes giving us just an ever so quick glimpse at something different, a new way to observe or a new way to be in the world. Those are the kinds of rewards, it seems to me, that as we begin our Lenten time together, that we seek out those kinds of moments with God where God reveals those contradictions that, and those are moments to be treasured. Treasured moments. The thing about Ash Wednesday, it seems to me, is that we all start out on the same playing field. We're reminded that we were all generated from the dust of the earth. Every single one of us, whether we be whatever profession we're in, whatever profession we're not in. We're all generated from the same dust. And we live our lives, and ultimately we all return to the same dust. Whether we were king of the world, or whether we were not king of the world. Whether we were queen of our kingdom or not. We all return back to the dust. We begin the same way, we end the same way. But somewhere in between all of that are these dark corners in our lives that God brings light, and God brings these moments of revelation and these treasured moments where new life happens. New life happened at the beginning with the dust of the earth. New life happens, and not just once, but I believe over and over and over throughout our lives. I think that, it's not ever a matter, and I think sometimes we get this wrong in the church. It's not that we're trying to climb some wonderful mountaintop. That's not what it's about, it never has been. It's always been about being faithful. More importantly, it's been about God being faithful to us. We always get that backward. As faithful as we try to be, the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelation is about God's faithfulness. Even when we show up with goldfish and plastic bags talking about, stop using more plastic. Even when we show up with our silly selves, God shows up and says, hey, I love you. I love it. I honor that you've raised us up, and let me show you a different way to look at it. And in those dark corners and those places of our lives, God brings new life. And out of those moments of new life comes more new life. And out of that, it seems to me that not just out of our own individual lives, but our corporate lives together, things begin to change. And then as we begin to speak out, on behalf of others who have no voice, on all those other kinds of issues that we could go on and on and on, suddenly there's new life in those dark places. Lent is about God meeting us in all sorts of shadowy places all along this way to the cross. There's going to be a lot of shadowy places we'll go through together. And that's okay, because it seems to me that sometimes we have to go through some of those shadowy places in order to get to the light, in order to find those places and then really treasure them when we see them, when we identify them, and more importantly, when God brings them to our attention. That's when we can have our own aha moment, and that is one of those humbling moments when I think we finally get it, that between this dusty moment and this dusty moment, even at the end, God is still raising us to new life, so that the ashes, the end, is not the end, but I believe yet another opportunity for a whole new beginning. Amen. Amen. May the peace which passes all human understanding keep all of our hearts and all of our minds in Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen.